Hi, how are you? Are we doing okay? I don't know what's with my framing today, but it feels like something is off. Anyways, hello, I hope you're doing okay. I feel love today. That sounds so disgusting. What I mean by that is that I feel good things. Like I feel lovely today. Anyways, so I'm not a big romance reader and have never been a huge romance reader or a romance fan in general, not just book-wise, but every media-wise. Like I don't like romance movies, I don't like romance shows.
I don't like romance in general.
Because, I don't know, it's either like too cringy, too cliche, or just... It's just annoying to me, I don't know. It's like difficult for me to find something that I don't really get cringed at. However, last year I started getting into romance, book-wise, of course, and I now am a huge fan of romance in books. I am in fact a huge hypocrite. And yes, I am going blind with my bangs that I cannot cut shorter, and I just can't commit to cutting them shorter because I know that will annoy the frick out of me, so I just keep cutting little by little, hoping that I don't know why today they just want to do this. They don't want to do that, they just want to do this. It's kind of annoying. I'm gonna be sharing with you a few books, I counted but I forgot, that are so rude. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna be sharing a few books with you that changed my mind when it comes to romance. Some books that were either too well written or they had strong freaking characters that just pulled me, or some books that had both. I feel sorry that I'm gonna have to share this again because I've been talking about it since I read it, and it was from one of you. You recommended it and I will not shut up about it. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I've been obsessed and I've been loving it. Hence why I'm recommending it till now. And it's Go Around by E.J. Noyes. I promise I won't bore you. But this is a contemporary fiction romance story following, I forgot, Avery and Elise. So Avery is an air marshal, right? And Elise is a television movie star, kind of like show it girl kind of girly. And they were exes and then they meet, and it's the first time that I've read a book with an ex trope, with like exes meeting and reconnecting and stuff like that, that I actually ended up rooting for, and I actually ended up not only like rooting for but absolutely loving, and would have been super freaking mad if they ended up with anyone else. Like this is the one scenario where I was like, don't move on, maybe just please don't, like, stay together. They gave me butterflies, and it just like, it's so like rare for me to not cringe at romance. Like every time I read stuff and people like start liking each other and whatnot, I literally immediately cringe. But this, I recommended this on Valentine's Day. I recommended this on the women authors, like there are female authors, English, female authors that are absolutely like you're gonna love and I love. And now I'm recommending this for romance because it was literally one of the books that got me into romance. The next one is a very hyped book, and I only read this year, and that is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Now, this is a Romeo and Juliet, loosely Romeo and Juliet retelling. This, if you're like gonna read this book just because it's promoted as a Romeo and Juliet retelling, don't. If that's what you're expecting, don't, because it's not like that. But I am so freaking glad that it's not actually like that, because it's done in the most beautiful, amazing way. It was like modernized in places and pushed way back in places, and it was done in like an inclusive, amazing way. This is a fantasy mixed with contemporary, kind of an enemies to lovers, back to enemies, back to lovers, and then back to enemies story, and I loved it so much. And I wasn't going into this with a lot of, like, when it comes to the romance aspect, I was going into this with a lot of expectations from the fantasy aspect, because this was recommended from one of my all-time favorite booktubers, Jessie the Reader. But I didn't go into this from a romance aspect, but I wasn't disappointed in that area at all. Like the butterflies, the tension that we got, because they're enemies to lovers, back to enemies, back to lovers. It was done beautifully, and it didn't feel dragged out. It didn't feel annoying. It didn't feel forced. That's like my like one important point that I keep finding over and over with books that are hype as a certain trope. I go in because of that trope, and then it's so freaking forced just because of the hype surrounding that trope. Next one is Most of All You by Mia Sheridan. Now this author lives rent-free in my heart. I wish she would write queer books because of like the way she writes her characters. I don't know how it would work if she would write queer. It would work. Her men, the male that she writes are the cutest freaking males ever. They're not like this huge alpha dude with wings and like 50 fucking meters each wingspan or whatever. They're the cutest men ever, and you are gonna love them. Listen, she was my first intro. We're gonna get into that later, but most of all, you definitely. It's following. I was gonna say Brie. Shish. Now this one is following Gabriel, and Crystal. And oh, it's like two damaged people, like legit damage. That's what I like about her. That's gonna sound mean, but I love damaged people. I love damaged characters. Like when I first read my first introduction to romance, it was a damaged person, and I think that's why. Because my first introduction was a very damaged person, and I loved him so much, so I think that's why. We are following Gabe and Crystal, and they're both damaged and they try to heal each other, but it was done in the most amazing way. It's contemporary story, it's simple and easy, and you will definitely fall in love with it. Next up is I Kissed Alice by Anna Burt. This I was iffy about. I'm still iffy about it, but the romance aspect, if I take the negatives that I found with it away, we still have the romance aspect that I found so freaking cute. And this is the point of this video. It's romance books, or books that I like the romance aspect of, and this is one of them. So this one follows two graphic novel artists, and they both they both create art in this like forum thingy or site thingy, and they talk to each other online, but they don't know who they talk to, but they talk to each other in real life, and in real life they absolutely hate each other. So this is sort of an enemies to lovers, but they're forced like to hang out in the same friend group because they're friends with the same person. This wasn't my all-time favorite, but again, it's queer and it's not done in a cliche way. It avoided all the cliches, it avoided everything, but still it was a 3-point star, so go with it. Do a little bit of research and go with it if you want to. But other than that, it was still cute, and I found myself like rooting for them and like having a lot of stuff and yeah, not that I had negative opinions, but still the positive weighed more than the negative. This one is a little weird to talk about, The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Safik. I recently read this and I picked it up out of a corner store. Like I just walked in, I was like walking and I was like, oh, that's new. And I cannot see a new bookstore and not go in, so I went in and I ended up getting this one. The romance aspect that I wanted, that led it to be mentioned in this list, is actually, this was a difficult book to talk about because it follows Ella, who's like a simple home lady that's living her best life with her husband. Not really her best life, her decent life with her husband and kids. And she works at an agency where she edits books, and she ends up proofreading a book. And then liking the book so much that she contacts the writer, and then they have a very wholesome relationship. And even though I hated so much in this, like the book itself, we get a glimpse of the book itself that she's supposed to be proofreading, and I love that idea so much. But the character in the book, like the main character in the book, within the book, I hated him so much. It follows fucking Shams of Tabriz, and I hated that man so much. Like I liked him at first, and then I was like, I want to slap you. And then it was fine. Like I tolerated it, and then I wanted to bury his head in the sand. I wanted a camel to step on him. Like, however, the Ella chapters with her forbidden communication with the writer of the book she's proofreading was the cutest thing ever. I found myself just like waiting for Ella chapters. The next one you might be surprised at, but it's a Colleen Hoover book, and I'm still in the middle of reading the second one, which the video is probably up now, or if not, will be coming soon. But it's Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. It follows this huge secret. It's a contemporary, of course, but it follows this huge secret and the POV of Sky living with her adoptive mother, and then we meet Dean Holder, and you can tell immediately that there's like this huge secret. But this is not what this video is about. This video is about the romance, and the romance between them, and the tension between them, and them ending up together. And there's just story, like when you know what happens and when you finish the book, just it was cute knowing like this was is that gonna be a spoiler? No, it's not gonna be a spoiler. This was a childhood best friends to lovers, and this is, I think, my first time reading childhood best friends to lovers, and I liked it. Not my first time, oh my god, I read another one that I'm not gonna mention because I hated it so much, but this I liked. Last one was my introduction into romance, and it is by Mia Sheridan, and that is Archer's Voice. I love this book so freaking much. It's my introduction for romance. This is why I'm now into romance. This is why I'm now not afraid to pick up a book when it says romance. It was my first time reading about a main character that was mute, and I loved it so much. I'm saying this about every book on this list because I just love the romance aspect in them so much, but this one has a huge special place in my heart that will probably never be replaced. Even if it's replaced, geez, there's like this huge, I have like clothes folded, right, and there's a gust of wind and it came through the window sheet. What's a window sheet? Window blind. Yes, not sheet. Window blind, and it scared the living fucking crap out of me. Anyways, this is my first time reading having like a mute main character that isn't focused on him being mute. It is kind of. Literally, like, the book is called Archer's Voice. He doesn't have one. He's mute. That was insensitive, and I'm sorry. But it's not like focused on that, or it's done in such a beautiful way, and I just love that man with all of my heart, like all of my heart. He literally is the cutest man ever, and he never experienced love. And I have this thing with people with no experience that I just love so much because it makes me feel less alone. And he had literally no experience, like zero experience, and I loved him so much. Like, he was such a pure golden retriever boy. He was oh my god, I wanted to hug him so freaking much. Like, good man, very good. Yes, romance book, yes, man, good, yes. I literally was about to sleep 10 minutes ago, like literally was about to sleep 10 minutes ago, and then I was like, no, it wouldn't have fell because Mania at 6 a.m. It's currently 6:30. It's currently 6:38. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please share some of your romance books because I'm in love with romance right now. Like, I'm a lovey boy. I'm a lover boy right now. So share your romances. Doesn't matter the trope, doesn't matter the genre. You go read everything, and I'll be more than happy to check them out. Let me know if you like any of the books that I've read, and if you haven't, would you read them? Thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'm gonna see you next video.